Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Steve here at the DJ Lab. Look what I just got. Old school Numark NS7 III. And I'm going to explain a few things here. I was going to do something that wasn't live, but I thought, let's do live just in case some people watch and want to ask some questions. But I'm going to go over a bunch of things and explain why I believe this is the Technics 1200 of controllers. What I mean by that exactly is Technic 1200s were the best turntable on the market for DJs. They worked well. Everything was perfect about them. As they made new turntables, no one ever really improved on a Technic 1200. And I believe this controller here was the last of its breed because no one's going to ever make anything quite like this. Right off the top, that top plate, they talk about a Ring 1 being all metal construction. That's not quite true. The top plate is plastic. This thing here is all metal. It's heavy. People have complained and said, well, for mobile guys, it was heavy. So were two Technic 1200s and a mixer. That was heavy too, with a coffin case. Keep that in mind. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's gotten weak over the years, it seems. All the new DJs, they want to have a plastic thing that they can throw in their backpack. If you're going to go be professional, make money, maybe you need to lug some stuff. You know what I mean? Lug some heavy speakers. Lug a heavy controller. So it is built like a tank. It does have some weak points that people have pointed out. These filters here, I had an NS7 too, so I know exactly what you're talking about. When you hit center, there's like a little divot. That little divot actually can wear out. That's a real thing. This one here is in mint condition. Everything's perfect on it, pristine. So I'm lucky there's nothing worn out on it. But let's not talk about the problems it has. People said the faders. Well, this crossfader is actually a little bit shorter in throw than on a Ring 1 and all the new stuff, right? So to me, that's not exactly a real big issue. And I got to apologize. I think my camera is being glitchy because I'm running through a hub at this point, but you're going to get the main gist of all this here. So a short crossfader, it doesn't bounce back and forth like the other one, but let me tell you, it has a good cut. Feels good to me. I've watched enough videos of people scratch mixed on this thing versus a Ring 1, and it sounded the same, you know what I mean? Sound quality, things sounds great, you know what I mean? Like, I have no issues with the sound quality. My NS7 II sounded like a bag of crap compared to the rest of my gear. That's why I got rid of it. And Apple dropped support for it, so it didn't work on older Macs, right? I run Windows anyway, so it wasn't a big deal, but it was just time to get rid of it because it was pretty dated sound card wise. This sound card sounds great. Platter speed on this thing, you know what? It's got high torque, low torque. It starts and stops as fast as a Ring 1. And I'll tell you why. The Ring 1, some people don't realize, was supposed to be an NS7 IV. Maybe it was going to be an NS7 IV Mini. Who knows what they would have called it, because it had no screen. It was smaller. It was 2-channel. It was more portable. You know what I mean? And, they put feet on this thing with a big gap under it so you can run your cables under it and stuff and have your laptop stand under it easy. So that was supposed to be a Numark product. People have told me if you look inside and open this thing up, it's all Numark part numbers. So it wasn't originally meant to be a Ring. They just stuck Ring stuff on it. And I'm going to just demonstrate right here quickly. I don't know if you can see all that from there. Probably not. But this had metal pots. Ring has plastic pots. So solid pots in this thing. Pitch fader has resistance. And it has no click in the middle. Where a Ring has a click in the middle. And that's a strange thing that, people modified their 1200s to not have a click because they didn't want that click. They want to be able to, adjust just a little bit outside of that, right? So there's a win on that one. And the other thing I got to point out about this unit, the fact it's mirrored, right? Old school mirrored. Our hands are mirrored. I've discussed this before. if I'm scratching and I have access to hot cues, I have my hot cues here 8, but I got 5 quick ones right there, right? If you're scratching, and if you were scratching over here, you know what I mean, like you still have a good reach for it, you know what I mean? It just kind of makes sense, a mirrored system, because we all got used to this club standard stuff. And then when this stuff came out, it was supposed to improve upon what we're using in the clubs to make things more friendly to use. You know, I don't want a pitch fader right there beside, you know, my channel fader. And that's what it's like on a rain. You know, it's right beside it. Makes more sense. Reach over here, reach over here. Also, I don't want to be here dialing up my tracks and then over here dialing up my tracks. When I can just literally scroll, load, load. Easy, fast workflow. The screen, people have said, okay, the screen's a little bit dated because if you look at the... nope, that's because, sorry, I loaded on deck 4, so let me do that again. And that's another big one. It's got 4 decks. It can do 4 channels. A Rang 1 can't do 4 channels, and a Rev 7 can't do 4 channels either. Just saying. That waveform, people are spoiled. They're spoiled with their 60 frames a second waveform. I'm not playing a game of Call of Duty here, where frame rate is a big deal. That shows me what I need. It's good enough, you know what I mean? It honestly is. I have the same kind of frame rate on my XDJ XZ. That thing's new. It's worth some serious money. It's the top controller Pioneer makes of an all-in-one system. Good enough for that. Good enough for this 2015 unit. We have different views. So I can have my waveform in the middle. You know, I can hit the other button here to have my deck 3 and 4. And here's the best part about this. You see how it says 1 and 2? When I hit the view, it automatically puts it at 3 and 4. As soon as I touch that knob, I don't have to hit anything. As soon as it's touch capacitive. I think, is it touch capacitive or is it just when I turn it? Let me just see. When I touch it, no. So as soon as I start turning, it automatically pulls up to the folder and I can load my deck 3 and 4. Don't ask me why deck 3 and 4 is not running at this very moment. Let me take a look at Serato itself. That's the only thing when you do a live thing that I'll have to figure that out. There must be something set in here why that's not working the way I expected it to. I tell you why. Because last time I used Serato on 4 decks, I was using timecode, and everything was wasn't set for internal. You got MPC style pads. I will kind of talk some shit about the fact of the black rubber tops on DJ equipment. Denon does it. Now Pioneer does it with their XDJ XZ. I'm not a fan. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I got dry skin, dry hands, but every time I use it, I'm leaving like, you know, gray marks from like skin cells and just shit like that. So they always look dirty. Always got to wipe these things down. And I'm going to fix that one day too. I'm going to do a video where I'm going to cut some vinyl to attach to the top to make it shiny. It doesn't need to be rubbery. I don't need to be rubbery feeling. I'd rather just not get dirty. But let me talk about a couple things here. Let me just see if anyone's here watching. Okay, we got some people here. I got to pull up my phone here so I can interact with you guys. Because there's some tricks this thing can do that no one else can do. Okay, from what I see here, I don't think anyone's commenting. That's fine. Oh, turn down the phone here. Jesus Christ. So let me show you some of the cool things this thing can do. Number one, when you turn your effects, let's go into the view. So our effects are right there. We go shift, and so there's our 3 effects on the screen. When I hold shift, I can change my effects. I can't do that on a rain. I still have to go, use a mouse, click on the screen and change my effects. There's no button, there's no shift command to do this. And the other thing I can do is I can set each one of my effects, the parameter, like the wet, dry, where I want them to be. So when I engage all 3 of them, and look at this, I can go this, this, this. On a rain, you have to hit all 3 to engage all 3. If you want to engage 6, you have to literally, mess around. It's not easy to hit all 6 of the. You need to use 2 hands, 3 fingers on each button to engage 6 effects to do a 6 effect layer. You just can't do that kind of stuff with a Ring 1. You can't even do this stuff with an S11. You can't do this stuff with a Rev 7. Rev 7's got some cool built-in effects. I get it. Everyone's like, well, hardware effects. Fine, you got some hardware effects. I'm perfectly cool with Serato effects. There's lots of them. They sound good. I don't care what anyone's going to say about that. So there's that. Now, check this one out. This thing has a thing called filter roll. Nope, I must have. There we go. I switched over to the other deck here. Okay, so that's one thing it can do, right? But then you can go shift and do filter effects. There we go. It's flashing. So now what happens is whatever effect we have going on channel 1 here. Let me get chip tunes or something. And you can really do some crazy shit here. See, when I turn the filter, I'm actually turning that up too. So you can go shift and keep going through and just find some real interesting combinations. It's really endless, the kind of stuff you can pull off with this machine. Here's another one too. So you have touch. What touch does is when it's touch capacity, like that's just it. It's touch capacitive knobs. Seriously. Why is it 7 years ago we had touch capacitive knobs on controllers, and now they're gone? Makes no sense to me how we had so many features. The lights on the touch strip, this touch strip is far more accurate than the Ring one. You know, and even too, you know, this flick of a knob for your reverse and your beep was great. Now what I'm going to do, this is the best part about old gear, I'm going to remap that, and I'm going to make the flippy knob do exactly the same as the rain effects and the Rev 7. Same thing. It's in an easy enough spot to hit it. Why not? Another one. See up there? You can adjust the beat grid, and you can adjust this. You can slip it, like adjust the slip of it. You can do all the adjustments. That's great. How many times have you loaded up a track, especially from a streaming service, and the grid is off? You know what I mean? It's not on. Ring 1, I don't think you can adjust it. I don't see anything that's apparent. The Rev 7, you can bet money it probably can't adjust anything, because it's a scratch guy DJ. You know, it's a scratch mixer, scratch controller. You know what I mean? So yeah, you've got that. We can turn the motor off. You can't turn the motor off on a Ring 1. No, sorry. On a Ring 1, yes, you can. On a Rev 7, you cannot. Now, some things that are lacking. The loop controls, I still haven't quite figured them out yet. They're not exactly super friendly, you know what I mean? But it doesn't really matter, because you have the auto roll, so you can just, you know, and then you can adjust the parameter. That's another thing that, for instance, an XDJ XZ can't do. There's no parameter, so for your auto rolls, right? You only have what they have. Adjust the stop time. Turn on slip mode. Now that's the only downfall as well too, is that when you're on slip mode, it doesn't just automatically engage. You have to switch over to do your, like, those tricks, right? And of course, the Ring 1, the clicky button, start stop button is great. But look, we got a Q button. Rev 7 does not have a Q button. People are like, well, you got hotkeys. What do you need a Q button for? Because why not have one? On a Ring 1, it's very tiny. Makes no sense to gotten rid of it. Just trying to think what else I can say about this thing. Okay, the crossover. So you can't adjust the contour of the up faders, but these are way looser than a Ring 1. Ring 1 has a lot of resistance, right? You know, and the crossfader is probably better in this thing. I'm in a Ring 1 for sure. But this feels like it has a tighter cut and smaller. So I think for scratching, it's better. The distance from the crossfader to the turntable, you have more space. So someone who's using turntables, you want to have that distance. Having it too close together, I don't know how good that's going to be in the long term, especially on your wrists at that weird angle. I'm sure you'll adapt to it. What else can I say? Yes, it's heavy as hell. You know, maybe it doesn't have the best faders in the world. Maybe the crossfader wasn't the best. But I'm telling you, you don't see these things used. This is why I bought it, because you never see them used, and there's a reason why. Not because they didn't sell many. They sold a pile of these things. It's the guys who bought them are professional working mobile DJs. This thing could do it all. You didn't even have to pull up your screen. And I'm going to do a video, right, probably next week, because I'm going to be away this weekend. And I'm going to hook up a Mac Mini to this thing and show you guys how you can just turn on the Mac Mini, turn this on, it's going to boot right in the Serato, and you're going to be able to operate it fully. Beat grid, sort your music. Yeah, like you can't do that with anything else either. I can go into my crates here, I go into my files, right? And then when I hold shift, I can say I want to sort by song, I want to sort by artist, I want to sort by BPM. I can even sort by key. So here's the only downfall here is that screen does not show key information. It only has 3 columns. It'd be nice if that could be fixed somehow. I don't think it's ever going to happen because it's so damn old. So that's my only gripe. I like to mix things in key. So that's the only thing you can't do on screen. And just going to see if there's a shift combination that does something maybe. No. It is what it is. So, of course, like I said, you got the different views. So you have a waveform in the middle and all your stuff on the side. And you can see, where all your rolls are. So you know what's what before you hit it. So you don't make any mistakes. And you're seeing your pitch adjustment. You're seeing your key. You're seeing your range. So you know what range you're on. Yeah, it works so well. Sound quality, this thing sounds as good as a Ring 1. Don't let anyone fool you. Yeah, someone just, Frank here is talking about, Franz is talking about the V7. I had the V7s. The only downfall of the V7, for instance, sound card wasn't up to standard. You know what I mean? Sound card wasn't that good. But they were great units, you know what I mean? I don't know why they didn't build anything like that again. Because you could take a V7, it had a sound card, the Serato was built into it. Take one, spin 2 decks with it with an analog mixer, and it had effects. It had all the effect knobs in it as well too. It was a really good system. But yeah, I'm just saying, guys, you know what? If we keep buying all these new products, they keep taking shit away, and we just keep sucking it up, they're going to keep doing it to us. They're just going to keep screwing us and making cheaper and cheaper gear. They take away 10 things and give you one thing. One new dumb little trick to sell their shit and take away everything. Take away build qualities. Like, you know what? There should be this should have evolved into something. You know what I mean? The touch capacitive sub should have been there. It should have got built-in hardware effects. It should have had this with the screens and have the operating system built into it. By the year 2022, this should have just been a standalone unit with the motorized platters. Make the platters a little bit bigger, perhaps. That's all. You know what I mean? Like, they could have evolved. That Ring 1 came out. The Ring 1, like I was saying earlier, was an NS7 IV that just got rebranded at the last moment. And they took away so much. People are like, well, they need to make it more portable. Who need to make it more portable? The guys who bought an NS7 III to this day are still gigging with it. You know what I mean? Wedding DJs, like, not club guys. You're not going to drag us into a fucking club for an hour. But you get paid to do a wedding. You're doing a corporate event. You're there for the whole day. Yeah, man, this thing's a dream to spin on. Let me tell you. And I had an NS7 too, so it's not like this was completely new thing to me. Like, I've never touched one before. But when I first pulled the Rain out, and I don't like that. I'm not want to talk shit about the Rain 1 because lots of people have it. It's nice. You know what I mean? It does the job. It's a good system. But it's not the best system. You know what I mean? Considering that's the new one. When I hopped on that, I didn't feel any kind of wow factor. I was like, hunting, looking for shit. Like, why is the Q button so small? Why is this here? How come I can't change the effects? How come when I engage 3 effects, I can't adjust individual parameters? So if it's just all 3 effects or all 6 effects on full tilt, you can't, you can't layer anything and make a good combo of effects. Yeah, you're right. This is the NS7 III, by the way. And, like, it just didn't make any sense, you know what I mean? And sure, you can go in there and MIDI map the shit over Ring 1 and make it better. But for the money, you shouldn't have to go in there and be a programmer. Like, it should have just been apparent. You had a certain system before. Why did you take things away? Why did you make things cheaper? Why are all these companies acting like they're innovative and they're just, you know what? It's not just these DJ companies. Your cell phones, you know what I mean? They take shit away, take your headphone jack, take the infrared port, make them glass, don't make them metal, make them more breakable. Just keep taking shit away until you're left with nothing, because it's all about them making money and trying to sell you a new one and a new one. I get it. How do you keep business going? You keep selling shit, right? But if you're going to keep making new shit, just keep making new and better shit. How hard is that to do? Is it that components are too expensive? You know what? If you had to make this machine in the year 2022 and have a bunch of new shit on it, and it had to have been a $4,000 controller, then so fucking be it. You know what? Because back in the day, gear wasn't cheap. And you had to save your money. Not everyone was a DJ because not everyone could afford the gear. So France is looking to see how much it would cost. He's looking for one. Well, you know what? I bought this one here for a good deal with the intention on selling it and making a few bucks. Now that I've got it sitting here, I don't really know I'm going to sell it. And you talk to a guy that has, 4 1200s sitting here. I've got SC6000s with the mixer. I have an XDJ XZ. I'm borrowing a Ring 1. And I still want to add this into the lab here because it's a good system. I enjoy spinning on it. I can do tricks on this thing I can't do on my other systems. So why would I want to get rid of it, right? And yeah, like it came out in 2015. 7 years later, we have nothing showing up there's nothing showing up that's innovative at all. It's just a lot of bullshit that's coming out. Like, I haven't had a chance to touch a Rev 7. I have it on pre-order. But, now I'm kind of second guessing it because I don't know what it's going to bring to the table that I can't do right here with this machine. The Rev 7 can't run Record Box. Neither can this. This can run Serato, and it can run Virtual DJ. Now, something I have to look into, I ran Virtual DJ a long time ago with my Numark dashboard, and it worked. This time, my waveforms aren't showing up. I think maybe it's just a set-in. I have to, play around and figure that one out. But with Serato, this thing works good, man. Like, everything that you need, you got you got a phase meter at the top. You know what I mean? Like, who else has that, right? I don't know if I turn down the volume here. Oh, I know what's going on. Effects were engaged with the echo out thing. So watch that meter. The reason I had a slow start because it's streaming, it's loading up, right? So watch if I like. I don't know why the phase mirror is not doing what it should be doing. Because usually it goes back and forth. Who knows what that's all about? But yeah, what else can we say here? Yeah, Samuel. So I know the dashboard works, and it's the same. It's exactly the same screen because it's detachable. It looks identical in every way, shape, and form. And what's interesting, as I bought this thing, I have to tell you the story. The guy I bought it from, I saw a Facebook ad, and the guy was like 3.5 hours from where I live. He is in the middle of nowhere. It was sitting there for a while, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, man, why can't that be right here in Toronto? I'd buy that thing. And then I messaged the guy and just said, hey, I saw he lowered the price a little bit. I'm like, do you ever get to Toronto? He's like, I'll bring it to you. I'm like, really? So I had him show me some videos, and to make sure that, there was no drift in the platters or anything, and it looked mint. You know what I mean? It's mint. It looks brand new. The plastic's still on the screen. The plastic covering of it, it's still on it. Not even a bubble. Not a mark, not a scratch. Like, okay, I shouldn't say not a scratch. On the platters, there's a couple little, micro scratches. No big deal. And yeah, and the guy, he was going to bring it down, and then it turns out his friend was coming to Toronto for a few days, so just sent it with his buddy, and his buddy dropped it off last night. So who would think somebody would actually deliver something from 3.5 hours away to sell it to you? And it's strange. When I sold my other XDJ XZ, because I bought a used one, and then my new one came in. I wasn't expecting the new ones because they were back ordered for so long. So I resold the one I just bought, and the guy came from Montreal, a 4-hour drive to Toronto to pick it up because that's how badly he wanted it. But I'm just telling you guys, you know what? Wherever you happen to live, keep an eye open on your local classifieds, on reverb.com, wherever. If you're thinking about buying a motorized controller, you're thinking about the Ring 1, you're thinking about the Rev 7, I would think again. This thing's the real OG, you know what I mean? That's why I said it's like the 1200 of a controller. And just like a Technics 1200, you know what? Sometimes you find them in mint condition, and sometimes they're a bit beat up. So you have to do your research, check for platter drift. I'm going to show you something right now. See if we can recreate what's going on here. Okay, so there's 2 tracks running right now on one end. Well, I got the gain cranked up on that side. That's why that happened. Let's go into the auto loop here. I could have picked something that had some beats. Hold on. So here's what I'm looking for, right? So on a ring one, if you put it into a loop, and turn this down, just let it sit there for a moment, just go. If you put it into a loop like this, and you wait long enough, it's not even that long, believe it or not, and all of a sudden, you're going to hear phasing. And someone said, well, that's just Serato. Anti-drift is engaged, you know what I mean? So I don't understand what was going on with that. My NS7 II, I know the platters had, you know, if I try to do a big super long blend, you know, one would eventually drift out and I'd have to, you know, use my pitch bend to just kind of keep it together. But this thing here, like, so this is, if you're going to buy a used one, this is definitely something to test. You know, grab 2 songs, hit sync on both, have the motors on, have them running in a loop, and just see, you know, will they drift? If they don't drift, you got really good motors. And so far, they haven't even gone into that phase mode yet where the Ring 1 did. And I'm waiting for someone to do that same test with a Rev 7. Because that'll be the test right there. Will both motorized platters stay completely lined up for a long time? Even what I did, I put this in a loop last night. Went to sleep, got up. So this thing was looping for like 8 hours. It was tight bang on. It did not come apart. So there's something I just realized as well too. You can not only just have that filter effects on one, but if you engage A and B, you can actually layer up 2 separate effects with your filter. Tell me another product on the market right now that can do that. I think about the only other thing on the market that can do some crazy shit in layer effects is the FLX6, the Pioneer one. But that's what's strange. Sometimes, like, you know, have you noticed some of these cheap little controllers have things built into them that, like, the most expensive ones don't. Like, they're little, like, beginner tricks, but, like, it's just odd. So I'll tell you some things it doesn't have. Of course, because of the age of this thing, you don't have access to scratch banks. And scratch banks, I don't even think you can even map that stuff. Well, maybe you can. I think scratch banks you can map. But, the new thing that, you know, like the RX3 has and the Rev 7 is the gate cue. So you go, you know, when you hit your secondary cue, you got these gate cues that basically engage the silent cue. And you can do some really cool scratch tricks with that. So that's all hardware based. You can't map none of that. But that's fine because you know what? Once I get the screens work with Virtual DJ, I'll probably use this with Virtual DJ because Virtual DJ has streaming services. Plus you can stream from Deezer. That's a big one that no one else can do. And Virtual DJ, the amount of effects and the pad modes it has, it's mind-blowing. It's endless. It's endless. It's a shame they called it Virtual DJ because it sounds like you just called your program Fake DJ, right? You're trying to get people to use your product, you call it Fake DJ. Everyone thought it was a joke. I talked so much shit about Virtual DJ back in the day, made fun of it. Come on, real DJs don't use that shit. Truth is, most DJs out there making real money, they use Virtual DJ because it does video, it can do lyrics, it can do, you know, you can tweet to a Twitter thing, then it shows up in a fucking request list. There's so much shit you can do with Virtual DJ, and it works with everything you plug it in. CDJ 3000 works so good with Virtual DJ. Like, It's like that's what it should have been as a standalone unit. Multiple pages, access to the sampler, access to a sequencer, so much stuff. So it's interesting that I've got, maybe it's the time of day. I don't generally do anything this early in the day. But, you know, I was excited to just get up early and fire this thing up, hook up the camera, and just show you guys. This thing's a total beast. So, you know what? Let me let's just watch the workflow here for a second. Let me turn it. I'm just gonna do a little mix here, not to show off or anything, but I just want you to see the quick workflow that a mirrored system has. This was a better system. Stop these tracks here. Let's so right off the bat, I don't have to press anything. I'm just like turn. You know, if I want to go into my crates, I hit my crates, see what I want to find. Maybe let's find some minimal deep tech. I'm on my Beatport stuff, right? Click the center. Oh, it's not sorted, and it's not sorted by BPM. So all I gotta do, hold Shift. Let me get into the other view for a second. Hold Shift, and I just sorted it by BPM. I'm doing nothing on the computer. Serato's not even up on the screen on my laptop. I'm literally looking at the Restream stuff and then the OBS on my other monitor. So I'm just working straight with this like as if it was a standalone. Load a track there. Load a track there. Just waiting for Beatport to load stuff up. Turn off the effects. Now here's a good example right here. See, you can't really tell from here, but the beat grid is out. Very simple. I just gotta hold my adjust. Oh, actually, you know what? No, what I have to do here, let me do this again. I'm gonna hold Shift and clear it. See, I messed that one up. I should have actually did the slip. Yeah, now it's good. I'm going to turn on the volume on this mic because it doesn't have a switch on it. Using my USB mic. Hey, what's going on here? Let me just so I gave you an idea of the workflow. I'm not here to do a big mix or anything. I know you guys are here to see like why I'm calling this thing the Technics 1200 of controllers, because they just don't build them like this no more. Same thing about 1200. They don't build them like that anymore. They're built really, really well. And so are these. A couple weak points. You know what I mean? People talk about the faders and the filter knobs wearing out and stuff. Well, that's all dependent on you as well, too. You know what I mean? If you beat on this thing and, you're hammering faders and you're twisting away knobs consistently, yeah, man, shit might wear out because it wasn't designed for like a lunatic. You know what I mean? It was still, kind of a home use prosumer thing. But there's, like there's things about this thing that I really like. The Ring one, give you an example. It's got XLRs for the booth. Well, if you're taking that thing out to the bars and stuff, that might be useful. But let me tell you, for my purposes, I like having an RCA booth out. When I want to run into my audio interface, that's easy to do. You know what I mean? So for that purpose, and and a lot of monitors you have an RCA to 1/4 inch, like it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty easy to hook up a monitor with an RCA. An XLR presents a whole issue, in my opinion. Something I want to explain as well too, because you know what I was going to do? I was going to put that platter on this. I was like, yeah, man, that's going to look badass. I'm going to order a set, and I'm going to, like, make this thing look bad. Guess what? Doesn't fit. Does not fit. It's because the top of the platter is exactly the same. This has more of that sloped angle to it. This is more up and down. So they kind of screwed us there a little bit. Now, what I do know is I've seen these things fit onto an SC6000M because, the strobes are cool. This whole thing, the only reason they made those lines is it made sense because the Numark turntables had those same stupid lines, so it was all in conjunction that, you put a set of turntables beside it, it all looked like it was meant to be. The one thing I have not done yet is I have not hooked up my 1200s to this thing to run 4-channel DVS with the spin-in platters. That should be interesting to do. Because, yeah, I think it's going to look badass. I just got to find the space because, like, I don't got a lot of space to be hooking up that many things, but I might have to just do things on the table. Like right now, those folding TV tray tables? I got like a pair of those things sitting in front of my Ring one with all my system there and beside the XDJs and everything. And that's what it's sitting on at the current moment with the camera set up. It's not looking pretty. But hey, I'm running out of space here. This is why it's important that you guys support the channel. I don't make a lot of money. I never go out there and ask for anyone to do anything. I hustle, I buy things, I sell things, make a couple of bucks here and there. Work a couple days a week, DJing. DJ lessons. Since COVID, I kind of stopped doing DJ lessons. It just wasn't worth it anymore. Because I was doing them cheap anyways, you know what I mean? So it just wasn't worth my time and energy. So I want to focus more on the YouTube channel. My buddy Lewis is in the channel right now. He's the one that mentioned about the super chat. So shout out to Lewis there. And he's encouraging me to, like, let's get this shit together. I'm going to try to, now that I know my work schedule, I'm going to try to schedule things out. I'm going to do the DJ rants once a week rather than the daily things. I don't want the channel just to be me bitching about things all the time. I'll schedule mixes. I'm going to try and do some guest interviews with people. Try and get some inside information for you guys. Also, too, you know what? I have a lot of access to exclusive music. So I'm going to be making a members only section. I'm going to take all the old stuff, all the old videos, throw them in the members only section. I'm going to make it cheap, like $1.99 or something. And try and generate a little bit more money on the channel so I can afford to, buy new things. I don't have to rely on these companies to, like, loan me things and then, want me to have some biased opinion. I like to buy my stuff so I can, if it's good, it's good. And if it's shit, I can give you a complete, honest opinion because there's only like a handful of us out there doing reviews on this stuff. There's some big guys, and those big guys are all sponsored. If you click on a channel and see a guy and there's no ad, let me just explain to that. If there's no ad running at the beginning of that video and he has all this equipment and everything's edited and everything else, what do you think? This guy's just doing it for free? You think he has a money tree in his backyard? Or do you think perhaps maybe Pioneer and Denon and all these companies pay these guys to make these videos? Because I know a girl who does Samsung videos. She tablets, phones, everything. Guess what? She doesn't make a dime from YouTube. She doesn't need to. Samsung pays her, and they pay her quite well. And she gets to keep the shit. These other guys, they're getting a lend. They're getting shit lent to them. They make a pile of money, and they won't even buy their shit. So that's all I'm saying. If you ever go look at a review channel, right, for anything, and you don't see some bullshit ad running at the beginning or in the middle or something, how much can you trust that guy? He was paid for his opinion. You're not going to bite the hand that feeds you. I've done it. I used to get stuff from Native Instruments. I called their S8 a piece of shit. They call me up. They threatened to get their lawyers on me and everything. And I'm like, fuck you. I don't care. So, this is why supporting the channel in any way that you can, whether you sign up to be a member, you're on the super chat, send me a couple of bucks. It all goes towards keeping this place alive. Keeping the dream alive. Just a 48-year-old guy, realized years ago that, what? I can't keep going to parties and supporting all these parties in Toronto in the hopes that one day someone's going to throw me a bone and I'm going to get to actually DJ a headline guy and not just, be an opener where no one's there. So I gave up on that bullshit a long time ago. I'd rather teach guys. I'd rather help people out, do reviews on stuff, make sure that you're not burning your money on shitty products because some other guy said it was the best thing they ever touched. And I'm telling you, take a look. If you can find an NS7 III, it's a deal. Mirrored controllers were better. I'll say it. I'll stick by that. It makes more sense. Look at all you got to do to make that decision to say, is a mirrored controller better for you? Is look at your hands. That's all. Look at your hands and tell me, are they mirrored? Yes. End of story. Right? Look in the mirror. We're mirrored. It makes sense, right? We're mirrored. Why wouldn't the equipment that we use also be mirrored? Kind of makes sense. But that's how they started. They started smart. And like I'm trying to explain, it seems the newer shit gets, the stupider it gets. It doesn't make sense. We're missing buttons. We're missing knobs. There's things we just keep missing. You just Pioneer, Denon, Numark, all you guys out there, stop robbing us, man. Stop taking shit away. Start making innovative products. Don't just find ways to make it cheaper. Don't worry. Don't say, okay, how can we cut corners? What cheaper material can we use? I don't generally answer an unknown call. Yeah, right. So I answer it, and of course, it's just some scam call, right? But I'm just telling you guys, if we keep going out and buying the junk that they keep making, they're going to keep making it. If all of a sudden they release a new product, right, and everyone says, fuck it, no thanks, what do you think is going to happen to these companies? They'll be sitting on the shit. So what are they going to have to do? Well, they're going to have to lower the price. Denon's done that. How many times, SC5000s, right? When that system came out with the X1800, wasn't that great. No one was buying it. They had to do a million updates to finally get up to speed. And it was literally almost a $10,000 system when it was first done. Yo there, Lewis. Thanks for the fiver, buddy. Something else, people, just to let people know, just in case they don't know, if you're not familiar with super chats and doing a little donation there, YouTube takes a big chunk of that. So, as I appreciate it, this is good, and I don't mind YouTube making money because they provide me a platform to do this kind of stuff as well. But when you just keep that in mind, so nobody thinks I'm sitting here getting rich like a stripper getting fives thrown at me. But like I was saying about these controllers, just stop buying them. Don't buy the Rev 7. Go hunt down an NS7 III. You're going to be much happier. Honest to God. If you can find one. And that's just it. If you can find one, because the people that have them, they know. As soon as you sit in front of one and play on this thing, and especially when you've played on newer stuff, you know what I mean? Like, that's what kills me. When I hopped on the Ring 1, my first 5 minutes was disappointment. Like, why doesn't this work? Where's this? Where's that? Where's that? My first 5 minutes was not like, wow. The first 5 minutes with this, and I've had an NS7 II before, but it was the wow factor. Like, look at all the things I can do. I don't have to look on the laptop. Like, you know, Rev 7, you put screens in your platters. You take away the spindle. You can't, real turntable guys, speed things up, slow things down with the spindle. You took that away. So if you're going to take away the spindle and put a display in it, why not like go full out and have a display in the middle somewhere as well too that shows me my browser? You know? Because it's been done before. 7 years ago to be exact. Why didn't you do that? Instead, you took a valuable real estate on the platter, and on a Rev 7 from the pictures I've seen, look, I don't got the hugest hands in the world, but I can get 4 fingers, my pinky and 4 fingers. It looks like on that Rev 7, you literally have that. No, it's probably about the same as my XDJ, so maybe you got like 3 fingers, right? And it's not a bad deal. It's okay if you're a CDJ user. If you're a CDJ user that want to have a motorized CDJ platter, well, guess what? You got it. You're a turntablist and you want to have a proper platter, I just don't think the Rev 7 is going to be the one. I just don't believe it. If you feel any different about what I'm saying, feel free to comment. I don't mind. I don't mind a good, healthy debate here, and you can tell me the pros and cons of why you think it's better. How many, people said, oh, they want the pitch fader on the top. How many people said that? Anyone who is a working DJ who uses a flight case, you need it. And let me tell you something about that Rev 7. Here's another one. So you can't put it in the flight case with a shelf with your laptop above, right? Because the shit's in the way. And guess what? The thing is completely flat across the bottom. So you can't get a laptop stand under it. Now, my XDJ XZ, as an example, it looks like it has feet, but it bezels under, and the bottom of it is completely flat. You can't put a laptop stand under that, but it's an all-in-one with a screen on it. You see what I mean? Ring 1, smartest thing they did on a Ring 1, I got to give them credit, is they put big chunky feet, almost like 1200, Technics 1200 feet. There's literally, I don't know, what is it about? It's about that much of a gap. About that kind of a gap under it. So if you're doing an event, you can run your XLR cables under it and towards the front, so it doesn't look like a hot mess to everybody else. You can have a nice clean setup. You could even, if you need to tuck away an external hard drive under there, you could. You know what I mean? Like, shit. You could almost fit a Mac Mini under there. It's a shame. If they had made just like another couple inches, you could like, you know what? And you could really just find something to add to the bottom to crank it up a little bit. So you could say the same thing about the Rev 7. You know what? Go to a dollar store, buy a couple rubber feet, glue them on the bottom. Really? Should you have to do that? You make a controller that has screens in it, and you still need to look at the laptop, and you didn't make something that's laptop friendly to put a laptop under it. Yeah, so Nerd Report was saying I should set up a Cash app. Now, I do have the I've got buymeacoffee.com/the DJ Lab, and they don't take a big percentage, so that's a pretty decent avenue because it goes into my PayPal. There's also PayPal, and you know what? Hey, I'm always buying shit, you know what I mean? Lasers, lights, all kinds of things. Someone ever wants to just send me Amazon e-cards, Tractor Guy, funny enough, tractorguy@gmail.com. I really need to make a new email. I haven't used Tractor in a million years. So, but it is what it is. So yeah, unfortunately, I can't use these platters. They just don't fit. Another thing that's interesting. So these guys here have no quick release, right? As everybody well knows. But there's something that they can't do that I can. So watch this. Oh, I gotta take off slip mode here. Now this is interesting. If it's not buffered in, it's like you can't do a crazy spin back. But once you play for a bit, then it works. It's kind of a strange thing. That's a Serato thing, right? So you see how loose that was. Take the little screwdriver here. Oh, did I grab the wrong screwdriver here? That's the problem about doing stuff live. It's like, what did I do with the little screwdriver? There we go. So it's like, it's a little torque screw. It's like a little torque screw that you need. So this thing, if you buy it new, it comes with like, you know, the Allen key looking Torx to get in there, but this was not new, so I didn't get it. And I have one somewhere from my old one and my V7s, and I just don't know where I put it. So I'm going to loosen it a little bit, push it down. Now it's tight, right? Now check it out. Right, you can't do it with a quick release, and guess what? You're not going to be able to do that with a Rev 7 either. You're not going to be able to adjust that kind of stuff. So yeah, just saying. There's things that this thing can do that the others can't. What's going on, Lucas? I'm telling you, it's go look online, try and find one, because they're getting harder and harder to find. You know, like I saw on reverb.com, for anyone in the States, there was one for like Canadian. It was showing me Canadian prices. I'm in Canada, but it came from the States, and it was brand new, never opened, for like $12.97 Canadian or something like that. Great deal. That's a great deal. Sealed in box, not used. Someone's got one somewhere. So that's an amazing deal. Full disclosure for my YouTube guys, because you know what? No one from YouTube is going to be buying this off me. That I paid 800 Canadian for this thing. So before it even showed up at my door, I already had an ad up to sell it for 12. I had people offering me 9. I had people that want to trade me like $1,500 worth of camera equipment. But let me tell you, now that it's sitting here and I'm using it, I don't think I'm going to sell it. What I'm going to do is I have a Numark dashboard. I'll probably sell that Numark dashboard for, you know, if it's to a friend, someone from my channel or something would say, or local, I'll probably sell it for like $200, which means then this unit here brings that down, because I bought that for $100 from Numark back in the day. They gave me a good deal on it. So I don't even think about that. You know, that money's gone. So if I get 200, it makes this thing like $600. At a $600 value, I'm going to keep it. I also have a DDJ XP2 that I sold a mixer for a friend. And when that mixer deal got sold, the guy traded in with it this XP2. And then my buddy gave me $300 because that's what this thing was worth anyways. So I essentially got that for free. I'm going to turn around, try and sell that thing for $300. Then I brought this cost of this down to $300. So just showing you guys how I do my hustle. I'm not just a guy with a pile of fucking money that's just throwing it around everywhere. You know what I mean? I calculate out like, okay, if I want this, how can I have enough stuff, I've got enough deals on things, I can flip things and work it all out. So then I've got that down to $300, right? Now, I have a set of Technics 1200 MK2s that I purchased for $1,000 Canadian that I haven't even put the ads up yet because Technics, it's like gold. There's the right time to sell something and there's the wrong time to sell. We're in the wrong moment to sell things. There's a lot of 1200s here in Canada up on Kijiji. People want like $1,819 for it, for a pair. I could probably put mine up today for $15, make $500 on that. Now all of a sudden, this unit is completely free, and I'm $200 ahead from my initial investment. See how that all works? It's not difficult. You just need to have a little bit of cash flow in order to do this kind of stuff, to make these moves, right? So even though I've got my MK5s here, I have this set of 1200s. If I looked today and saw another pair of Technics 1200s mint for $1,000, I'd buy them. Because it's like buying, so it's an investment. DJ investments. I should do this. DJ Economics 101. How to buy gear and it not let it cost you an arm and a leg. Your hobby should not bankrupt you. These companies would love that. They would love for you to bankrupt yourself buying their shit. I was in a group. This is a funny story. So I'm in this group and some guy who says he's a DJ instructor, he teaches, was asking the advice of people like, my students are wondering what's the best, entry-level controller if they want to be like it doing club stuff. So I respond to this guy. People were fucking mad at me, thinking I'm arrogant and shit. I said, listen, if you're teaching this shit, if you're taking people's money and you teach people to DJ, you should know about the gear. We got fucking Google. Number one, you shouldn't have to ask nobody their opinion on anything. And if you're doing this for a living and you're teaching the shit, you should know the stuff. Not just how to DJ. Know how to DJ on everything. And to be able to tell your guys, this is your best option. I told the guy, I said, listen, I'm a teacher. I'm not an asker. I don't ask people shit. I answer questions. But I'm not going to answer your question because go look it up, man. How hard is this? How hard is that to clue in? The guy was so fucking mad. He was so pissed off, telling me I'm arrogant, I'm an asshole, this and that. I don't give a fuck. I don't really care what these people think about shit like that. But it's true. Know your shit. Fucking Yoda isn't getting lessons from some guy on how to use a fucking lightsaber. You know why? Because Yoda is a Jedi fucking master. He ain't asking no one, what color lightsaber should I use today? He knows what color he's fucking using. And if you want to know what color to use, he'll tell you. And he'll tell you how to use it. There's a difference between people who think they know and they want to teach and try to make money out of nothing. And then there's guys like me. I eat, breathe, and sleep this shit, man. I'm not a DJ. I'm not even a DJ instructor. I don't even think of it like that. DJing is my lifestyle. See, there's a difference. It's a lifestyle. Walk into my place, it's nothing but fucking DJ gear. It's ridiculous. It's all I actually give a fuck about. Outside my girlfriend and scootering. I got to throw electric scooters in. I only have one, though. If I had the space, I'd have 20. If I had the money. I don't have no deals with the electric scooter companies. But yeah, this is why I feel like, I can talk as an authority on this shit because these other guys get shit loaned to them. Don't get me wrong. The dead end guys, they loan me some shit. But, what's cool about them? If I want to talk some shit about their product, there's a problem with it, and I say some shit about it, they don't cut me off. They don't treat me like a piece of shit. They still treat me the same way because they know I'm right. If I said it, like if it's got a fucking problem, and when I say like, hey man, what do you miss? You're missing this, you're missing that. They know. They know it's true. They might have the reasons why. Maybe it's the economics of it, of you're building a controller. I don't know that side of things. I don't know the cost factors to make things. But let me tell you, you got to figure when they sell these. So when these things are sold, it's interesting. This is another thing that you should know. They have the manufacturer's suggested retail price. That price is way fucking higher than anything you've ever seen on a price tag. When you see what the MSRP is, it's like, what? Are you fucking kidding? No way. Nobody would pay that price. But what happens is some stores like to show the MSRP and then they show the MAP price. The MAP price is the lowest price the dealer is allowed to sell for. That low price typically is 20 to 30% above cost. Big DJ stores will get their shit, big orders will get it at 30. Smaller guys will get their shit at 20. So, they're only making 20%. So you got to figure, and picture this for a second. You have in Music Canada, who is Numark, Rain, Denon, Akai, Ion. They got a bunch of product lines, right? They make it, they distribute it. So if you wonder why an SC6000 is the price it is versus a CDJ3000, think about this for a moment. CDJ3000, right, made by Pioneer, made by the Alpha Theta Corporation, comes to Canada. There's no Pioneer Canada. On Instagram and shit there is, and all that is SFM, well, SF Marketing. They're out of Montreal. They're a distributor for a bunch of different companies, Pioneer being one of them. So they got to make something too. You know what I mean? They're the middleman. They got to make a little something. So this is why Pioneer shit costs so much money. Not because it's that much better. And it is in some ways. Some of the build qualities maybe are a bit better. But there's another guy taking a piece of the pie in the middle of it all. So you take $1,000 product and I can buy, the store can buy it for $800. Well, so if I'm making 20%, that's got to mean that $800 product is maybe only like $600 to them. And then the company has to make something too. Are they going to let the store make more than them on their product? Are they going to let the distributor make more than they're making, than their percentage? Probably not. If anything, it's going to be equal. So you can expect that the manufacturing price of something is probably marked up at least 60%. So that's 60% because the middleman needs to make some money. It should be 40%, right? And I don't know that they're making 20. Don't quote me on this shit. I'm just guesstimating because I don't think the distributor would make less than the store would make. And I remember having a product. This is back in the day, man. A Stanton product was sent to me as a sample. No, it was the Numark. Sorry, not the Numark. Native Instruments, the S8. This was like a fucking $1,400 Canadian thing. I think around that price. The price they put for customs, like the value of it coming from Native Instruments, was like $250. I'm like, is that all it's actually worth to them? And I bet you it is. I fucking bet a $1,500 item only costs $250 to manufacture. Wouldn't surprise me at all. And that's the deal. This NS7 III, the cost of manufacturing was probably pretty fucking high. It's solid metal, man. You know what I mean? It's got all these metal pots. Everything's metal construction. It's just a real beast. So time has gone on. The cost of everything's different nowadays. So, okay. Maybe you just can't make it as good for a good price like you did back in the day. But guess what, man? Porsche, Lamborghini, all those guys, they don't stimp on their quality. They charge more money. You'll get the same quality, the same shit. It's just going to cost you way fucking more now than it used to. And that's how this shit should be. Don't fuck me around. Don't assume I can't afford your shit. Build quality shit with all the buttons and knobs that I need. Don't leave out features. Give me everything and stick a fucking big price tag on it. You know what? We'll come buy your shit. Right? People are buying your overpriced CDJ 3000s. I got fucking nothing really. There's nothing really innovative about a CDJ 3000. Like, honest to God, you couldn't even put a fucking Wi-Fi chip in it. And I don't even mean a Wi-Fi chip to streaming services, because I understand you can't stream Beatport on a professional fucking stage. It's not legal. This is why Denon is prosumer gear, and they can do this shit. I see this little glitch happen on my camera because I'm going through the hub. It's like I'm in the fucking Matrix over here. But if I want a Wi-Fi to my laptop to do, to pull my stuff off record box, just like I can do by Ethernet, give me a Wi-Fi chip, man. Denon products, the 5000s, had a Wi-Fi chip in them long before they ever had a Wi-Fi thing connected to them. Nobody even knew. They future-proofed them. Because you know how much a Wi-Fi chip probably costs to stick in one of these things? Probably like fucking 50 cents. It's not a big deal. Look how many cheap products on the market have Wi-Fi built into them. Little fucking $30 cameras that you can buy that are Wi-Fi. So don't tell me you couldn't put a fucking Wi-Fi chip in a CDJ 3000 so I could connect to my own shit. Makes no sense. So if anyone's got any questions about this NS7 III, feel free to, drop a line here, ask, because I don't got much more to say about this. I don't want to sit there and keep bashing everybody else, because I could be here all fucking day talk about these other companies. And it's very disappointing that when you use something that's 7 years old and you realize, holy shit, man, this thing's better. You know what I mean? Like, honest to God, anyone who had an NS7 III and sold it to jump on a Ring 1, those guys fucking, I'd love to hear from them. They must be super disappointed. I watched videos where people are like, oh, it's so much better, so much better. When I had the NS7 II here, the guy from in music said to me, he's like, oh man, you wait till you touch a Ring 1, you're going to love it. I tell you what I love about the Ring 1. So interesting enough, that hole is a little bit bigger in the platter, right? So I took this off thinking, okay, I'm going to be able to at least put the platters on this thing. And they work. They do work. I'm going to just loosen one up here and I'm going to show you. So the only problem is, as you can see, you see how loose it is? So the little button release in there, it doesn't quite grab this. Oh yeah, like I'm going to answer, you see a toll-free 1866 number or something calling you, fucking ignore that shit. Don't ever answer that nonsense. So it's odd. They made it just a touch bigger. So I could probably put something around here in order to make it a little tighter and secure it. But so it works and it doesn't work, you know what I mean? So what I'm going to say about this is this platter here, man, if I knew where my digital scale was, I don't know where the digital scale is. That's a food scale, by the way. That's not for drugs or anything. I would weigh that out. But I have to say, this is thicker than this. Because of that, this has more weight to it. This is why people think this feels better. The grooves on here are etched in a little deeper, where this has like really no grooves. Now, what's interesting, if you look on this side, I don't know if you guys can make that out. Let's see if I can see that. You see how that looks a little, on the back side, it looks a little bit more like a record than the front side. Now, was it because somebody put them on? You could just unscrew that and flip it around, right? But that is an interesting concept. Like, why? Just kind of noticing that now. You can make that out, right? Yeah, that's where you see it the most. Maybe the guy that sold them to me, maybe that's what he did. Maybe he already flipped them one time because of scratches and stuff. I don't know. But what I'm going to do, you know what? I'm going to go at some point, find some nice colored 45s. I got to call the old boss that played a record there, say, hey, find me some nice colored 45s, and I'm going to put them on. Another thing I'm thinking about doing as well, too, for the grip, because I did this before with, let's see if I can find one of these things quickly. Oh, I might not be able to find one quick enough. But literally, Dollar Store has this like MacTac stuff. That's like the sticky paper, right? You know, you can get glittery things and different patterns and shit. And there's the one that was like gold, but it had a texture to it, so it gave it like grip. I did an old record to put my phases on it, and it worked really well. So I might even take some of that sticky shit and, you know, just take this thing off, put it on, trim it, put it back on, and have a different color and have a different grip. I'll probably try that out later. Once again, I'll do a video showing that shit. But yeah, ultimately, some nice, cool colored vinyl. Like my V7s had these 45 Serato vinyls, and they were white with black speckle on them. They were really cool, man. I kind of wish I had like just kept them, but when I sold the V7s, you know what I mean? Like I didn't have nothing else to replace them with, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm taking it just based on looking at the channel here. I'm gonna double check again. That no one else has any more questions. I give it another couple minutes. If you have a question about it, you want to know something that maybe you came in late, you didn't hear me cover it. A little bit of a blast from the past here. 2015, this thing came out, and here's what's funny. It came out in 2015, and it was discontinued in 2020. 5 years, a 5-year run. That's pretty good for a Numark DJ controller, right? And I know lots of people out there said, hey, why don't they make an NS7 IV? Guess what? Ring 1 is the NS7 IV. I'll just remind you all again. If you're to crack that thing open, it's got Numark part numbers inside. This is why, you know, the Rain people felt like oh man, it doesn't have the Rain quality. It doesn't have the Rain quality because it literally has a silkscreen printed Rain logo on it, and that's about as Rain as it got. I mean, there's absolutely nothing else in that thing that ever came from a Rain parts box. Just so you know. Well, so Drewster, I was doing a mix on it, and so Ian wants to know what the original price was. I don't even remember what these things sold for originally. I don't know. See if I can like locate that shit. Original. Doing a Google search. Oh, so I just Long McQuaid here in Canada. So we're talking U.S. No, talking Canadian. Sorry, but the original price Canadian on this thing was $1,700 plus tax, which is 13% up here. And then it was on, and then it went on sale for $1,349. I don't know when. But here's what's really interesting. When I should call Long McQuaid and ask them. According to their website, it says limited stock available in select stores only. So it's not saying it's out. It's saying this thing's out there. Like Long McQuaid has, I don't know, 70, 80 stores across Canada. Somewhere in Canada, this thing exists. New. How about that? So when I get off, I'm going to call. I'm curious to know. I'm curious to know how much they want for that thing, because if someone hasn't bought it by now, it's discontinued stock. What exactly would they let it go for? You know what I mean? Hey, Google, 1,700 minus 30%.
The answer is 1,190.
So if they were selling for 17, I know their markup is 30%. They were trying to do a sale price at $1,349. That means they're still trying to make $200 on it. If I found one, literally, I would offer them, say, you know what? I'll buy it at cost. You're not making a penny on it. You can let it sit there and rot. No one's going to buy it because they don't know any better. You know, you're never going to walk into a Long McQuaid and ever see, or any store, even you guys in the States, you're not going to walk in and see this sit up beside a Rev 7 and a Ring 1. You know why? Because you would never buy the other shit. The moment you stepped on this thing, stepped up to it, you would not even think. No way. There's no fucking way would you buy a Rev 7 after you use this for a minute. And I haven't even used a Rev 7. So you know what? Wouldn't be the first time I say a bunch of shit. I get a product in here and they're like, you know what? That's fucking wrong. This is amazing. Maybe it is. Maybe. I just fucking doubt it. No space under it for a laptop stand. A display that's in the way where my hand's going to be. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know, like my XDJ, for instance. It's got a display in the middle. In the center of the jog wheel. But guess what? It also has a display in the middle. You know what I mean? I look at that display. I don't look at the display in my wheel. When I had my DDJ 1000, it had a display in the middle. I didn't look at that. I looked on my computer. Why would I look at a little tiny fucking circular screen when I can be looking on, you know, a minimum 13-inch screen? At least this thing here, look at the size of the screen on that. 3 screens. Oh, come on. Just shut up, Bixby. Bixby pisses me off. I don't know why it's always fucking listening. I can't figure out how to turn that bitch off. Besides taking a hammer to it. Okay, so there's a good question. Here we go. So Ian Casanova, I don't know where you're from, but you say there's one for sale near you. Where are you from, buddy? Drewster was always known for build quality. Yeah, you're right. The original NS7 had a laptop stand built into it. Like, I think it was an add-on that you had to buy. Or maybe it came with it. I forget now. Oh, you're in the UK. Nice. And this setup, no. This would not work with Sound Switch. I don't believe. Because there's no link. There's nothing to link it up to a Sound Switch box. You know what I mean? I've never used Sound Switch, so I don't honestly know. But I kind of doubt it. Because, you know, you got to figure at the time this thing was made, Sound Switch didn't exist. Now, if Sound Switch integrates with Serato, then you're fine. And, you know, and it depends exactly what you're trying to hook up lighting-wise, because there's so many other options for cool visuals and lights and shit besides Sound Switch and all these things that, you know what, before all these things existed, we had DMX, you know, we had a lot of shit. We had software that, you know, detected beats. Yeah, even that too, but that they had the effects bar, right? That they had add-ons to the original ones. Because let me tell you, that's what's kind of funny. Someone was talking about that. You know, if you're a turntablist, you were a guy that went from turntables and you had a mixer with no effects, maybe some bullshit effects on it, but you're just straight blend DJ. And it's funny, the original NS7, right? I think the original NS7 was 2-channel. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think. But I've seen these things for a couple $100. They're steel. And you know what? They work. They like the sound cards weren't the best of them, but if you wanted just a simple, if you got a kid who wants to get into DJing, don't buy them some shitty little $200 plastic controller. You're really better off to go buy some old school NS7 II. And even if for a couple $100, for another couple $100, you had to go buy an old MacBook Pro with the old operating system so it would run, you're still better off than buying some cheap little bullshit plastic controller, because the kid would get motorized platters, and you know what, you could teach him to scratch. Even if you had to crack the thing open and put a new crossfader in it, you're still better off. It's like cars, you know what I mean? You take an old car that was built well and put new parts in it, it's better than the new car. This thing here, and I'm surprised someone hasn't done it. If you crack this thing open, and here's the best part, I can literally take off the center without having to rip the whole thing apart. You know what I mean? I can get access to it. And you replace the faders, right? Replace that with a nice fader. Take these things, pull them right out. Make it a rotary. Put some nice rotary knobs in there, maybe. Or you just put some Magvel fader, up faders. You could upgrade this shit. And it probably, if you were doing it yourself, you knew what you're doing, like even the knobs, the pots, everything, you could probably like just revamp the whole center of that thing and make it mint. It's funny. I know a guy that like does rotary mixers and he laser cuts things. And when I talked about, hey, I wonder what it would take to, because you only have to do one side, right? Is to literally take this side off, recut a new plate, and move all the components over to be like that side. Now, what's very interesting is what you could do, and it makes me wonder, because when I look at the shape of it, and I really thought this before too, it's like, what if you bought two of these things, right? If you bought two of them and you took off this side here, pulled that side out, and on the other one you use the right deck and you put it over there, and then the left, and then same thing. You take the left deck, right, and you put it over there. So it would be a reversed. One of them would be a reversed club style, right? But one of them would be just like a club style. I wonder how much that would sell for. How many people would jump on it? What's going on, Troy? Yeah, man. See, Troy knows. If you own an NS7 III, you're probably not going. You probably never got rid of it. Why would you? What did they make in the last 7 years that comes even close to this thing? Even close. The Ring 1's not close. I got it sitting right here. It's not close. Sure, it might have. What does the Ring 1 have? Okay, I've got a hot cue, a save loop, a roll, a sampler, and the slicer. I got the same shit here. 7 years later, I got the same shit here. Ring 1, like I was saying before, I cannot adjust the beat grid. I can adjust the beat grid, I can clear it, set it, everything else. I have a stop time knob here. I have a start and stop time knob. I have this for my reverse and my sensor. Over on the other one, I literally have to press a button, and if I want to do reverse, I have to hold shift and hit the button, right? Once again, cutting corners, right? This toggle switch was too expensive, I guess. They used the toggle switch in the effects. And I'm going to map that. I'm going to map that for the effects to do some shit, because I don't need to ever censor or go reverse. So I'm going to make good use of this thing. Um, man, the touch. No one's got the touch. No one's got filter rolls. No one else has filter effects. I shouldn't say no one. I think maybe some of the Pioneer cheaper products that shit. You see, Drewster 214, when you say the Ring 1 looks unfinished, I think someone said, and I don't know, they're just talking shit, but they said, you know what? Maybe it was going to be coming out, because it's like I said, if you didn't hear earlier, it's an it's a Numark product. They just rebranded the shit at the last moment. The parts in it are Numark parts. But was it supposed to be like a Numark NS7 Mini? You know, not necessarily a 4. You know, was it just going to be, here's a lighter, you know, a lighter version for guys that want to, like, you know, need a smaller one to take out? Because let me tell you, the weight difference between the two, I haven't weighed them out. I haven't looked at the specs. The Ring 1 is a little smaller, but it's heavy, man. It's not light. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like night and day between the two. Like, if you're gonna lug a Ring 1 around, you might as well lug this around too. Same shit. 4 channels, 4 decks. You know, you want to plug in some turntables. You know, Ring 1, you can plug in turntables, but it's only two. It's either use turntables or use the thing. Why would you plug turntables into it? This one here, I could plug in turntables and do 4-channel DVS with 4 platters. Makes sense, right? Even to, okay, the Ring 1 is your microphone. Your mic 2, you can switch to be an auxiliary. The mic 2 on this one here, unless it's around back, there's a switch. I don't think so. I don't think you can turn it into just a regular line in. I don't believe. But I don't really need an auxiliary in when I have 4 channels to work with, right? I don't need a 5th. Which is nice because the XDJ XZ does have 4 channels and an auxiliary. So I appreciate that for sure. If you want to hook up drum machines and stuff. Yeah, that Roland DJ 808. I had that one too. And the only thing I can say about Roland products, you know, leave it black, man. Add in your green trim to everything. Just kind of cheapened the look for me, to be honest. So anyways, guys, I see it's already 3:30 here. I got to get some shit going because I'm going to the girlfriend's place this weekend. I'm going to be like leaving tonight. And I've been on this for, God, man. It's been almost 2 hours talking about this shit. Interesting to see that there were so many people. Maybe it's because it was daytime. Maybe it's because I'm talking about this product here. Everyone's got videos ranting and raving about all the new shit. And the new shit is not the best. It really isn't. Some things, there's some new products that, yes, they're good. But when it comes to a 4-channel, well, never mind the fact it's a 4-channel. Just the fact when it comes to a motorized controller for Serato, I still think this one here, whatever little limitations it has, it makes up for tenfold in so many other aspects. Anyways, that's it for me. I will talk to you guys all later. If you leave some comments or, you know, email me, tractorguy@gmail.com. You want to do a little super chat donation, keep shit going alive here in the lab, be my guest. And I will talk to you all soon. I'm just going to turn on the volume, walk away, and let you guys look at this thing for a few more minutes. Leave some comments. I'll talk to you all soon. All right, guys, that's it. I just was waiting around to see if anyone had any more questions, but clearly no one does. I guess we covered it all. Thanks for watching, and we will be looking more at this in the near future.